Hi everyone, my name is Amber. As you can see, judging by my slightly red eyes, I have a problem, and it's called dry eye syndrome. As it turns out, this disease is common to many women, but I've had it since I was born, and up to a certain age, my life was a real nightmare. Now I will tell you what this disease is and how I lived with it. I was born as a late child, but I was also the first child of my parents. My parents married at 45. They couldn't get pregnant for a long time, and then they did it. Mom was 48 years old at the time. Doctors warned about possible risks, complications during pregnancy and delivery, but it did not stop my father and mother. They wanted a child, and then I was born, and everything seemed fine. Babies up to a certain age don't have tears. They come a little later, but my parents didn't think much about it. They thought it was because I was faking it. When I was 3, my mother began to notice that I often rubbed my eyes, and we had to go to the ophthalmologist, who did nothing but treat my infinite conjunctivitis. All my childhood, I had ointments and drops because there was constant inflammation. By age 7, I was prescribed glasses and lenses. When I went to school, the kids laughed at me because of them. Plus, my red eyes looked like apples. Guys would point and say 4 eyes to me. At those moments, I wanted to cry. I would run to the bathroom and break down. And then I would come home with even worse puffy eyes. What's wrong with you? What happened? Are they inflamed again? Does it hurt? Yes, it hurts a lot. They burn and itch. Mom, I won't wear glasses anymore. The boys laugh at me. We can replace them with lenses if you want. Okay. We bought me lenses. I barely had them on. No, it wasn't just that it hurt, but it hurt terribly. The glass was glued to my eye, and I couldn't move it into place. One time I freaked out so much that I pushed the lens and it scratched my eye. I got inflammation again, the capillaries burst, and my eye turned a deep red color. Are you wearing lenses? Yes, my daughter said she wanted to. She has insufficient tear secretion. She needs other lenses or drops. What do you mean by insufficient tear secretion? Don't you know what that is? No, what is it? I don't know how the last doctor treated you. I've only been here a couple of days, but I can see from the tests that your daughter has dry eye syndrome. Like, when I cry, I don't cry. What? Baby, how long have you had this? All my life. I just thought it was normal. It's not normal, but there are remedies to help ease the pain, burning, and discomfort. We left the hospital upset, but at least we got an answer to what was wrong with me. Mom was angry with the last doctor and herself for not thinking to go to another ophthalmologist for an eye exam. But in any case, the past cannot be corrected. According to this doctor, the disease I have is pathological because my mother gave birth to me so late. But that was just an assumption. From that moment on, I always had moisturizing drops, ointments, and other stuff in my purse, and it helped. I went without lenses and glasses for a while, but I was constantly rubbing my eyes. The medications were inexpensive, but because I used them all the time, it took a lot of money. If I went somewhere, I would panic if my drops weren't in my purse, but I tried not to forget them. Thus, I lived until I was 16 years old. Life was normalizing. Then I met a guy. His name was Derek. He asked me out. It turned out he had a bike, and of course, I, like any teenage girl, wanted to ride it, hands clasped tightly on his stomach. There was just one thing I hadn't considered. I want to take you someplace cool. Where to? There is a cool place outside of town. There's a river, beautiful fields. We could have a picnic, don't you think? That sounds romantic. With Derek in my life, it became easy because I turned my attention to more enjoyable things in life than going to hospitals. Anyway, I packed up and went to the Glade with him as he said. I snuggled up behind him and enjoyed the speed. The bike was making a lot of noise, so we couldn't talk. We just rode silently in the direction of the river. At some point, the bike braked hard and we fell on our sides. Derek freaked out, but I wasn't hurt. Turns out a baby deer was running across the road and Derek almost hit it. We looked each other over and drove on. When we arrived at the spot, there was a lovely clearing in front of us. Everything was beautiful. Grass, flowers, and a clear stream. We quickly set out our picnic and lay down on the blanket. The sun was shining brightly, and I felt through my sunglasses that my eyes were starting to sting. I got up and went to look for my purse, but I couldn't find it. I started to panic. Where is it? Where's my purse? What purse? My medication purse. Where is it? What medication? It doesn't matter. I need to get my medicine quickly. My eyes. I took off my glasses. Derek was looking for my stuff, but I realized I'd lost it when we fell off the bike. Apparently, the stuff had been left on the road, and I hadn't noticed. A second later, I was in severe pain. I covered my eyes with my hands. Derek came over to me and took my palms away. Oh shit, what's wrong with you? Your eyes are bleeding. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? I couldn't speak from the pain. I'm in pain, I need medicine. Call an ambulance. I shouted to him. This went on endlessly while Derek called an ambulance. While it came out of town, while they took me away. Anyway, by that time, I was almost blind. I was rushed to the operating room. Derek reported everything to my mom. It wasn't until 3 days later that they took the bandages off. I was freaking out. What is that? Where are my eyes? You just got out of surgery. It's normal. What's normal? I don't have half of my eye. Don't get upset. First, it'll be like this, then we'll figure it out. You're kidding, right? I yelled to the whole ward. The inflammation got really bad, and it ruptured part of my eyelid and made me look like a freak. I wanted to cry, and every time I did, my eyes would glow and turn red. Derek wanted to come into the room, but I wouldn't let him. I yelled at him to never show his face in my life again. That said, it made me feel worse. The doctors just sedated me. A week later, I went home. I didn't want to talk to anyone, not even my parents. I looked at my ugly eyes and wanted to cry again. Then suddenly, I heard voices in the living room. Derek was there. Where is she? Just leave. She doesn't want visitors. I'm not leaving just like this. Where is she? Let me talk to her. It's all my fault. Mom, let him in. He came into my room, and I sat down in the chair and took off my glasses. Do you like it? I do. Are you an idiot? Probably. I'm ugly now. Derek walked up to me, put his arms around my face, looked into my eyes, and said, Your eyes are like diamonds. Your tears are like diamonds. I'm lucky to have you. Not everyone can look at them. I wanted to cry, and then I didn't realize there was some liquid running down my face. I wiped my hand, thinking it was blood, but it was clear. What is this? Are those tears? They're tears! They're tears! He screamed like a madman. My parents ran into the room and couldn't believe the miracle before them. My tear ducts were working. I don't know if it was the surgery that helped, or the medicine, or faith. I cried and cried for another 40 minutes afterwards. I could not believe my happiness. My tears became diamonds because I was going crazy with happiness that they were there. A couple of days later, we went to the doctor again. Only this time, Derek took me to his uncle's expensive private clinic. We arranged for cosmetic surgery to make my eyes as beautiful as before. Derek's uncle gave me a huge discount, and Derek paid for the rest. I couldn't believe I'd found such a great guy. And today, exactly 1 year since my surgery, everything is completely healed. I can wear makeup, wear sunglasses, or not, eat what I want. No more carrying jars of drops and ointments in my purse, and most importantly, I can cry whether I'm happy or sad, and it no longer causes discomfort and pain. Derek and I decided to go back to that clearing where we left the food and blanket last time. This time, we decided to have a picnic too, only we drove the car. Derek told me that he loved me, and then he proposed. Would I have thought a year ago that I would ever be happier? Of course, I said yes. He gave me a ring with a diamond in the shape of a teardrop. And now we're starting another new phase in our relationship. Wish us happiness. And yes, in my case, I am thankful that my man made me cry. What do you guys think? Hello, everyone. My name is Brianna. What? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard what you were thinking. Yes, I can hear thoughts. Can you imagine? This is an incredible thing, and it happened to me very unexpectedly. As it turned out, in theory, instead of dying, I got this kind of gift? Well, I'll tell you all about it. In the meantime, guys, like the video, immediately subscribe to the channel, and write your opinion under the video. I will be interested in reading them. Let's get started. This happened last year when I was returning home with my little brother Tommy after a walk in the park. I promised him I'd give him a ride on the roller coaster just so he wouldn't shoot me at my parents. Small witnessed how a guy came to me late one night and I pretended to go to bed and I walked with him. So he gave me a condition. Either I take him to the park or he tells my parents everything. Well, in general, I began to save money for his slides. Although, to be honest, we had a fun day. I probably haven't been alone with him for a long time. He usually pisses me off with what he puts up with, but that day was different, and Tommy and I talked a lot. I didn't think we'd have anything to talk about before, but it turned out that there was plenty. I even got to know my brother better. After the walk, tired and satisfied, we decided to go eat. Tommy was hungry and we ate burgers on the way. When we were 3 houses away from the house, a dog we didn't know came running out from behind the bushes. It was huge. I shielded my brother, who immediately threw our food to the dog. The dog attacked the burgers, and while she was eating them, we quickly stepped forward. A moment later, I heard the dog running toward us, foaming at the mouth. She wanted to bite Tommy, but I blocked him. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my leg. The dog bit into my leg right on the hip. I screamed so loud that all the neighbors and even my mother ran out. Seeing the picture threw everyone into shock. My mother immediately rushed to us. She threw a slipper at the dog, but she did not let go. I was screaming in pain, and my brother was shaking all over, but I kept protecting him. Suddenly, a neighbor ran out with a shovel and hit the dog, so he ran away somewhere. Whose dog it was, we still don't know. I was bleeding. The dog had bitten through an important artery, and I was losing blood fast. It's good that the neighbors called an ambulance, which quickly took me away. An urgent transfusion was required. I passed out, and when I came to, it turned out that I had a transfusion. Only one nurse came to see me often. At first, I didn't understand why she was so nervous at the sight of me, and then I accidentally heard that she had transfused me with the wrong blood type. Against the background of unfamiliar antigens, I became ill the very next day. I had a fever and couldn't get up. It was so bad. I couldn't even tell my mom because I couldn't open my mouth. I cursed the nurse in my head. She, by the way, ran away from work, somewhere unknown, just like that dog. Surprisingly, on the 3rd day, I became much better. I even remember how a boy flew into my room. He brought me my favorite French fries and iced tea. I knew how much he also adored potatoes, and the fact that he brought them safely only for me, I was very pleased. Tommy was sorry it had happened, but I wasn't. How could I have done anything else? He's my little brother. Tommy leaned into me and rested his head on my stomach. A few minutes later, I heard his faint sobs. "I could have lost you. You almost died because of me," he said. "Don't ever say that again, Tommy. I wouldn't die for you," I told him, and he slowly raised his head and stared at me with round eyes. "I didn't say anything," he said to me timidly. "I was just thinking about it." At that moment, a slight chill passed over my skin, and I suddenly began to panic a little, just like Tommy himself. He looked at me as if I were an alien, and I put it all down to an accident, saying that I just blurted it out at random. He pretended to calm down, but the feeling of unease remained. When Tommy went home, I was still thinking about the situation. Confident that I wasn't crazy because I could clearly hear these sentences in his voice, I decided to test the theory and went down to the cafeteria. There were a lot of people there, and everyone was busy either eating or thinking, just what I needed. I helped myself to tea and lunch and sat down at the furthest table. I looked at the people around me, but I didn't understand or hear anything. At some point, I even thought that I really just imagined it. I finished my meal and went back to the room. Just then, my doctor came. He told me that my condition had improved dramatically, and this is extremely rare. We chatted, and the doctor started to leave. Finally, he suddenly said that I was very beautiful. I was embarrassed. Doc himself was a young guy, and he was very good looking. At that moment, I was sure he hadn't said it out loud. I suddenly wanted to ask again, but I didn't. I decided to give myself time to sort myself out a bit. As a result, I arrived home a few days later. My life was back on track, but my abilities were also back on track. A couple of days after I was discharged, I heard my mother talking to someone on the phone. She was swearing loudly, but then I walked past her and saw her sitting at the table with her head down. My mother's hands fiddled with a glass of water, and I said clearly, "I'm not going to let this stuff ruin our business. I'll do my best. So first of all, I will tell Frank. This is my father." Then she grabbed the phone and dialed Dad. I could see that my mother's lips didn't move, but I could hear her words. Yes, it was still creepy and scary, but I did not react as much as before. Then I started listening to my brother, my father, and my mother again. I did not always succeed, but I kind of trained myself, and over time, I learned to hear not only relatives, but even neighbors. I guess you could call my gift psychic or something. Do not consider it stupid or fictional, because everything can happen in this world. I do not know how much longer I will have this gift, but while I have it, I am considering how to use it correctly and best.